unfortunately, some people don't pick up the phone if they don't recognize your phone number. So then you can actually purchase these additional numbers or keep switching them up, and then this way you can keep dialing. I like when I was in the field, I used to like call with my number, call it, bombard them. Then I block my number, I call them, then I unblock it, and I call again. And eventually they'll pick up. They're like, "Who the hell is this? Why you keep calling me?" And then, for me, like especially if I call from block number, I'm like, that wasn't me. Welcome to this week's Elite Sales Podcast. I wanted to welcome all of you guys coming on today. I have a couple special guests. I got Josh Mejia, who's actually not on the FFL Elite team, but he does come into our office and he's had some really cool things to share. So I'm gonna have him share some good bits of info with us. We also have Shaun Curtis, who drove all the way down from Northern California. Yes, sir. Okay, how was the drive?
It was a drive.
Sped most of the way.
It was good.
All right. No, breaking a few laws along the way, but we got Shaun Curtis coming in. So we got a couple of top producers just sharing with us today. So, have some, good stuff ahead for you guys. We also have Darren and Landon. Are you guys on?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, before we get started, Darren and Landon, I just came back from Oklahoma. We had a couple meetings met with them and their team. I also met with a group that we're hiring out there. So, it was been a quite an event filled couple of days. But, before we get started, I just want to real quick just reflect on the 9/11, which just passes this past weekend. The funny thing is I actually was in New York during 9/11 when that whole thing happened. It was just crazy. I was just visiting my buddy that worked out there, and we actually were at the World Trade Center the night before. We actually had dinner at the near the World Financial Tower, which is what the second building collapsed onto it. And it was just a crazy time to reflect back and think it's been 20 years. Time really flies by. And, it was quite the tragic event, obviously, something that just changed the world forever. And then, the whole slogan that goes with it is just never forget. There's so much that we go through on a day-to-day basis. And, we tend to think like our lives are tough because someone didn't pick up the phone or someone hung up on us or we couldn't close a deal, but we just got to keep everything in perspective because, think about how many people that were lost that day or how many people's lives were just truly impacted by something like that. And it doesn't mean that the world has fixed itself. It doesn't mean that we don't have to deal with those same type of issues, but it's something that we all just need to, just remember, something for us to remember when we're going through things ourselves, to just, recognize, look, we're all just trying to get by. We're all imperfect people, just trying to get by, trying to do the best that we can. And if you're not, pushing as hard as you can and not really going out and trying to do as much. I mean, no one on that day thought that was going to happen. I mean, all those people that were lost that day. And for us, I mean, we just can't take anything for granted. We just need to go out and make things happen on a daily basis. You'll have some good days, you'll have some bad days, but just keep pushing, just keep going forward. And, don't forget, I mean, never forget, we are all very blessed that we're still alive, number one, but also we're very blessed that the country was able to rebound and able to come together during that time. And, this is kind of a testament here at Family First Life. I mean, like, look at the three of us, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we don't look similar, but I mean, that's also like the really cool thing when I was out in Oklahoma with hanging out with Darren, Landon, and then the whole team and meeting with this entire group after 9/11, my girlfriend at the time, she was like terrified to fly back. Cause we had a return ticket and we were out there for a few days after the events happened. And then when it came time to fly, she's like, I'm too scared. Like, we're not flying. And I was like, you're not flying, but I'm flying. Right? I was just joking, but I was like, so we tried to take a train. They started gouging on prices for that. And then we ended up having to take a Greyhound bus across the country. It was a 3-day miserable relationship ending bus ride. but I mean, it was rough. And then, one of the stops was I stopped in Oklahoma and I was like a 22-year-old kid at that time. Didn't have any money. I was pretty poor. I had all this debt from college loans and, I wasn't making that much money at the time. So I remember we stopped off in Oklahoma, and when I went through to Oklahoma, I had to go stop off, use the restroom, try to grab a bite. And during that time, um, all these, I was like the only Asian person literally in that part of Oklahoma. So like people would literally just walk up to me like staring at me with their mouths open, like I was some type of alien. And I was just thinking, and that time, obviously I've had a lot more experience dealing with people, in the 20 years that's transpired since, but at the time, like I felt a little awkward. And I was thinking like, is this what it's going to be like across the country? And then, then the last couple of days I was in Oklahoma, Darren and Landon treated me like family. Darren actually put me up at his house, and I was able to stay with him and his family. And it was just great. I mean, everyone was just so kind and so hospitable and so friendly. And the groups that we met, I had a little bit of doubt going into the meeting with the group that we were bringing on board, because part of me thought like, I bet you I'm their first Asian person that they've seen. But like I've with all the experiences that insurance, sales, and family first life has afforded me, I've been able to deal with people of all different walks of life, all different kinds of people. And the thing that really comes to the forefront of my mind whenever things like that happen is just that we're so blessed that we get an opportunity to deal with people that are different from us, to give us more perspective and allow us to continue to grow personally, individually. And then for all these experiences that we go through, it really allows us to grow on a different level professionally as well, because we're all better equipped for dealing with this. So I appreciate both of you guys coming on, because, number one, you guys are doing great in your business. We'd love for you guys to share a little bit, but also it just really speaks to the opportunity we have in Family First Life. So if you guys have lacked some fulfillment, or you guys want to get more experience out there, for those of you that are not in the business yet, and for those of you that are currently in it now, I mean, let's just get out there. Let's just go talk to people. Let's just go out there and help as many families as we can, because when it comes down to it, I mean, yes, we might see things a little bit differently politically, or our experiences have been different culturally. It might be a little bit different, but at the end of the day, we're all just people. We're all just people. And I would say the vast majority of people care about their families, and they want to do better. And we have the tools, the resources, the products, the carriers, everything else to be able to provide them with that. So, let's take our job seriously. Let's go out there and help as many people as we can. And then for those people out there that are not quite there yet, that haven't had the opportunity with Family First Life, let's get you guys on board. Let's put you guys in here and, see what you guys can do to better improve your financial life and your and overall quality of life. So done with that rant, but Darren and Landon, are you guys on?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm here, brother.
All right. Well, thanks for getting on. Why don't you guys share a little bit about your thoughts on the meeting and everything else that went on the last couple of days?
All right. Landon, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So as Albert said, he flew down to Oklahoma, which I'm greatly appreciative of him doing that. But what kind of transpired this past little bit is about a week ago or so, we were looking at our new office that Darren's getting ready to open up down here in Oklahoma. And the electrician, the guy that was doing our electrical work, he was in there, and we walked in, and I said, "Hey, I'm Landon Jones." And he said he's Mike Jones, which is my dad's name. So I was like, "Mike Jones, that's my dad's name." And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, you're little Mike's son." So he told me, he's actually my cousin. And somehow we got to the point to where he owns a big insurance agency that's been around since 1948 here in Oklahoma. He has, he had 3 locations, and he consolidated down to 2. But he was trying to hire me at the beginning, and I asked him, I was like, "So, what kind of comp do you guys make?" And he said, "Well, we're pretty good right now. We're at about a 70% commission." And I looked at him and I said, we could do way better for you. And he was like, "Well, I'm interested to listen, like we're in the process of trying to build our business." And then right after that, Darren told him the same thing, like, "Hey, we need to talk. We need to sit down. We need to discuss this." And so we set an appointment for 2 days later. It was on Wednesday, yesterday morning at 9. We called Albert, and first thing he was like, "Yeah, I'm all in. Let's do it. I'm gonna fly down. This is my itinerary. This is when I'm getting there." And it just shows the leadership that we have. If you guys haven't got to talk to Albert, hadn't got to meet him, you need to get in touch with him, because he'll stick his neck out and he'll do anything to help you guys and put you in a better situation. But we were able to bring those guys on, and we started the contracting process today. I had another meeting with them this morning. We looked at their second location. They have two over $500,000 offices, big offices that are already in place that are he actually just purchased the second one in Shawnee for the growth that's coming with the life insurance side. He knew that there was growth coming, and he wanted to have offices prepared for agents to work out of. So the opportunity is just awesome. And I got to connect with family. As you can see, Albert's wearing a 737 shirt. I got my 737 hat on. So does Darren. And he made me a little call today too. So it's just been an awesome experience. And overall, you got to keep, regardless of where you're at in your business, you've always got to keep looking for people that are willing to work and never be afraid of a situation. Because at the beginning of me doing insurance, I never would have felt comfortable saying I could offer a guy that owns a multi-million-dollar business a better opportunity. But this opportunity has showed me that my mind is no longer limited, and I have there's no cap space on what we can do. And so to be able to confidently tell a multi-million-dollar business owner that I can put him in a better situation in his life insurance, and him firmly agree with me is pretty cool. At 22 years old, talking to a well-developed business owner, and then getting these guys and getting Albert down here and Darren in there talking to him, it's just been life-changing. And I'm excited what's coming.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, it's like we have the cheat code here at Family First Life. Like, we're in a position where we can offer just about anyone out there a better opportunity. And it's not even just strictly about comp. The thing is, we have a lead platform. We have free training. We have ability to be able to move up. There's the integrity partnership deal that's looming out there, which we didn't even get a chance to talk to them about, because that's something, if they're looking to grow a team.
I talked to them about it today.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
He's pumped.
Tying up all the loose ends for me here. So, but and on top of that, above all else, we just have real, genuine people that are just looking out to help, like yourself, Landon, with Darren, with guys like this. We have an amazing group of people that I don't know, we haven't even scratched the surface yet, because we look at our numbers and they're all right. I'm not gonna say they're bad, but but the thing is, think about it, if everybody gets on board, everyone continues to just do what they can to help other people out, how fast and how massively can we grow this team? So
Albert.
Yeah. What's up, Darren?
Oh, no, I just wanted to jump in there just for a second. I'll let you guys get on. But first of all, I want to thank you, man. Thanks for coming out. This was incredible. My team appreciates you. The savage on your shirt. So that's what Landon didn't tell you guys is the son of the Henson Insurance Agency is Dustin has his own duck call business, right? And that has a big club there set up. And that's what the Savage represents, the duck calls that he used. 737 is a duck club, but kind of, yeah. So this is Oklahoma for you, right? You come to Oklahoma and you're country living. And anyway, I don't know. Did you enjoy the countryside of it, Albert?
Oh, I loved it. It's so much different from Los Angeles. Like I just driving around, there's so much green, so much like open space. And I'm just looking at the prices of everything, like property, everything. I was kind of like, man, maybe I need to move to Oklahoma. But real quick about Dustin's business, who's one of the guys that we're bringing on board. He has like a duck hunting club, which, me coming from LA, and I have no duck hunting experience. I know nothing about duck hunting. But then he was like right across from the insurance agency that we went to go meet at. We go outside, and then Landon was talking the place up because he's an avid hunter, and then we go into the place, and like it's like a lounge set up, and this is a duck hunting club where it's $100,000 a year membership per member, right? So this is like big time. It's not just like some like country type of thing. Like, and as I go in there, like that guy Dustin who opened this business, he has real vision on what he wants to do with it. So he's got like this cigar lounge set up. He's got this bar. They have the only like beer tap in that county. Because all the other ones are just like bottled beers and whatever, and like the lounge was set up, it looked like our office, So I'm like, this is like meant to be, like, the way that the vision that he had. I'm like, yeah, this is like a good fit. This is like the perfect fit for all of us. But man, I really enjoyed the experience because it opened my eyes to something different. Like, I don't know anything about duck hunting, but I would like to go now. But yeah, it was just a great experience, and I appreciate you guys treated me so well when I was out there. So, and it was great spending time with you guys and talking about business and meeting a few of your agents that I've only communicated via phone or via text. So to put real faces to names, like it was like a blessing for me. So I loved it out there. I think you're muted, Darren. Darren, is he muted?
Yeah, he's muted.
Darren, go ahead and unmute yourself first.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I just talked to Trisha, Walker's team today, and they're opening up their new office, but she's talking about opening up a second office with a new guy that's coming on board with us, and going to do a kind of a Hispanic office working in that community in St. Louis. And like, there's so many big things happening. The merger, and I'll piggyback on what Landon said about never be afraid to venture out. Like I've always, Albert, if you've known me, an outside the box thinker, like everything I've always doing, I'm trying to think, how can we do things maybe differently? And never be afraid to go out and reach out to other companies, other insurance agencies. We had something to offer these guys. We had a lot to offer. Family First Life is an incredible opportunity. And I think sometimes we get caught up and not understanding we've been with them for so long or whatever. Maybe we hadn't had experience being outside of the industry with other companies, other IMOs. But man, we have a lot to offer. The fact that we can offer that kind of compensation, the fact that we can offer over 20 carriers, they don't have to sit there and wait and try to get contracted and negotiate contracting. They just come on board and they have access immediately to all these carriers at a higher comp than they can get. Like we have so much that we can offer companies. So don't be afraid to venture out and go up there and build your agencies, because that's what we did. And God's behind it all. So it's incredible. And thanks for your, I think one of the biggest things was Albert actually flew out here and just for that meeting. And I think that was impressive to anybody, but to them as well. So thanks for your time, man. That's it.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys. And we went to go check out Darren and Landon's new office that they're having built out at the moment. So they just signed the lease. It's going to be in Seminole, Oklahoma. I talk about it like I know the place now, but no, it was this vision. Like you just see, like they're building out a podcast room, they're building out their offices, they're building out a training area. They put some real thought into this. So, this is the beauty if you stick with anything consistently. The thing is, if you're looking to come in and just like build something overnight, I mean, it doesn't work like that. It took me some time for me to even hit sales manager, let alone vice president. When I first started, and like these are all good learning lessons. So it's really exciting to see what Darren and Landon have going on over there. Obviously with Trisha and with the entire group that's coming on board right now. So yeah, just big things happening all across the country. So if you guys don't feel that same way about you right now, about your organization, your particular team, here's the thing: you can change it right now. Like you can change it literally overnight. So, yeah, we have so much to offer, and the system within FFL just gives all of you guys a huge competitive advantage to be able to go out and just hire anybody. So it always starts with yourself. And on the topic of starting with yourself, I'm actually going to introduce my two guests here. I got Josh Mejia, who's you're with FFL Freedom, is one of the teams, and you work with Sahar and Joe, my buddy Joe.
Yep.
I actually reached out to him first, make sure we got some permission to have a superstar like yourself on. But Josh comes in and calls at our office, so we always get a chance to. And when he dials, he's on. You go on the live dials, right?
Yep.
Which one do you go on?
FFLdials.com.
FFLdials.com. So if you guys want to see someone who's a literal machine when it comes to dialing, and he's here in the morning. First one here in the morning, and he calls all the way to the end until he books up his 30 plus appointments. I mean, it's incredible. And he's relatively new. So I remember when he was the first day he was here, he'd come in and ask a few questions about like, am I saying the right things on the phone script? And I was kind of like, who's this guy? Right. But he was so determined from the very start, and just like he just put in the work. And I think I might have seen him eat lunch like once or twice. Like he just like dials and dials and dials and dials and dials and dials, and then he drives 9 hours up to Northern California to run his appointments. And what did you come off last week? What did you do last week?
$28,800.
$28,000.
That was just last week too, right?
Just 1 week.
What do you have for the month?
64, 65.
64,000 after 2 weeks in September.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So
It's funny because since sometimes I come in and open the office and I live an hour away, I have to text Josh and be like, hey, just let you know, I'm going to be getting there like at 7:50 because he gets here like at 8 a.m. So I'm like, he's probably one of the first people I text on Mondays and Thursdays, which is hilarious.
I ran out of fuel last night and I was really considering how I was going to get here at 8 a.m. So I got about 2.5 hours of sleep in me.
Yeah. So sometimes he'll dial here until like 9 o'clock at night. Because we stay pretty late, and then he he's down and he's just like, all right, now I got to go home and pack up. And I'm gonna drive out at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to Northern California. And I'm like, this is hard work. I mean, so if you guys are thinking like, oh, I started at 10 o'clock in the morning and then I finished like at 4 p.m. and you think you're working hard, I mean, come see this guy. Come see this guy, and he's here in the office, and like everyone in the office can hear him because he's loud and he enunciates and he's clear on the phone. And like he's having fun with it too, because I'm here in my office like across the building, and I can hear him outside my office. And he'll come in, he'll just like share a bunch of good news, and he'll be like, "Hey, I booked like 14 appointments, and this is like at 10 o'clock in the morning, right?"
Yeah.
And then like
it's like 9:30, and he's like, "I'm already at 30."
And he'll come by and give me the updates, and he'll just say like, "Look, I'm up to like 25 now," and he's like, "I'm up to 30 now," and then like I'm just here, I'm just having fun, like I'm enjoying it, watching him have all the success. I'm like, why not go for 40 then? Let's go for 40 appointments. 40 appointments, but for the next 2 days, by the way.
Yeah.
So for those people that think you can't book 30 appointments in a week, because that's what you guys need to do. 30 appointments in a week, which is what this is. Shaun Curtis, by the way, just to introduce my man Shaun, who's you still live in Georgia, or you?
Yeah, so I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Oakland, California. I was recently moved, relocated the end of last year, 2020, so December, November.
Right. And Shaun, we've had Shaun on a few times because he's always a joy to talk to. But he shoots for 30 appointments a week. Is that your goal?
40.
40.
30 is the minimum. 30 is like I probably have family plans and things that I had to squeeze in that week, but 40 is like the
minimum. That's your goal every week.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you that are saying like, oh, I'm not making enough money, or I'm not hitting my goals. I mean, if you look at your schedule, if you have 30 or 40 appointments, I mean, you're not going to fail. You can't. And if you have 30, 40 appointments and then you don't hit your goals, maybe you should go do something else, because maybe it's not for everybody. So, but I mean, I think that's the one thing that we can focus on. That's the one thing that we are in control of. If you just focus on just getting your 30 to 40 to 50 appointments, whatever your goals are, I mean, you just can't fail. So to get to, we'll start off with Josh. To get to your 30, 40 appointments, like how many leads do you normally purchase, or how much do you spend a week on leads? Like, give us the breakdown.
150 to 160 leads.
Okay. What type of leads? Like new, old, CRM?
Most of the leads I run are the $9 instance, and I believe they're Facebook, the $11 ones.
Those are the instant internet life leads, which there's tons in Northern California, as you're running Northern California right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what type of leads do you generally get?
Generally, I'll say 95% of all my leads have always been instant internet leads.
Okay.
So I've never tried to change it or switch it.
Right.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, and there's always an abundance of them.
So, right, 100%. So that's always the plus. Every time you look up and get ready to, I guess, think about making another decision, it's like, hey, there's like 100 brand new. So right.
Yeah, and when it comes to leads, I mean, let's keep everything in perspective. When it comes to leads, you're buying leads, you're not buying sales. So don't go in with the expectation, hey, I purchased 100 leads, I expect to book 100 appointments and make 100 sales.
Right.
Because number one, you're setting yourself mentally to fail, because anything short of that's going to be a disappointment. So the thing is, you're buying leads, you're not buying sales. So just get your numbers in. That's the thing. Like you booked close to 40 appointments the other day, right? 30,
yep, 35.
35. You didn't sell 35, right?
No.
You didn't see 35.
No.
Yet you still wrote over 28,000 for the week.
Correct.
So
Boom.
you're still going to make a decent amount of money. You'll skate by.
I'll be all right.
Okay, so I mean that's the thing. Like we were talking earlier this morning. He was telling me about a lady that he saw that was kind of wasting his time, jerking around a little bit. So tell us about that story.
So I show up and I set the stage, set what we're gonna do, and she's playing along, but one thing I don't ask for is your social security number right up front. I'm gonna ask for it. I'm gonna tell you we're gonna fill out an application, okay, and I'll ask you for it when I get to that point in the application, because at that point I've built a little rapport. We've talked a little bit, and as I'm going through and I filled out her financial inventory, she was super cooperative, gave me everything, gave me account numbers, everything else. But as soon as I asked for her social, she said, "I don't want to give you that." And
you're on the trunk of your car doing this presentation, right?
Yeah, it's like 100 degrees outside. I'm in a tie, and she tells me she doesn't want to do it, and I'm an hour and a half late to my next appointment. So at that point, I fold my iPad and I said, "Hey, no problem. I completely understand. Okay. Let me know when you're ready to do something. I'll be happy to come back and help. But without it, I really can't do much." And I explained to her why, we need to pull an MIB report. And as soon as she saw me, like my body language was, "Okay, no problem. Like, I'm not mad at you, but I got to go help the next person." She goes, "Well, I mean, I guess I'll give it to you if it's like super safe." I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm not going to share it with anybody."
Because you're in the process of putting away your stuff and like legitimately about to leave.
Yeah,
right?
like I'm putting my
Take
iPad
away.
in my bag.
You weren't just posturing. It wasn't just for show. You were going to leave.
No, I had to go.
Yeah.
If she's not giving me her social, I got nothing.
Yeah. And then because I mean, so I don't know, when you were telling me this story, I was like, the reason why you were able to get her to move was because you genuinely didn't care.
Right.
You DGAF.
Right.
So you're like, I don't fuck. If you're not, I don't have time to be wasting because I have so many other appointments. I have so many other families to go out there and help. Like, if you can't make a decision, if you can't like do it right now, like, bye.
Yeah.
And
It is what it is.
people want what they can't have in general, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, you've actually called me a few times with people who don't want to give
Similar.
you the social or bank account or
Similar.
something. And then, like, have you ever had one where you're like, if they don't want to give it to you, have you ever talked them out of it?
Yeah, that posture,
right?
The takeaway. The moment where like you're going back and forth trying to tell them all the reasons why, and it's just like, you know what, hey, I gotta go. They're like, wait. So it's something about that takeaway, that natural. Because honestly, the truth is, you did request this benefit. You were online. You want life insurance. It's not a let me think about it moment. It's a let's make a decision moment. Does that make sense? So that's all we're here to make a decision.
I guess aside from just the technique of how you guys went about it, it's more about the overall mindset of this.
Correct.
Because you guys genuinely were prepared to walk away. Because if you have 30, 40 appointments in a week, like, you legitimately do need to keep things timely, keep things moving for you to be able to go and see all these people.
Correct.
Right. And this is leads that you invested into, time you took, spent like booking the appointments. So you don't want to just let it all go to waste.
Correct.
So if someone's not serious, you have the power to be able to just walk away from it. Correct. Now, here's the thing. For those of you that are just purchasing a few leads a week, if you're spending maybe like $300, or you're trying to reuse your old leads because you're somehow rationalizing and telling yourself, I don't need to buy new leads yet. I didn't contact all my other old leads. Then you're just sitting there just like calling through the same numbers over and over again. The power is in having the resources.
Right.
The power is having control of your schedule. So like if you're in a position where you have a scarcity of leads or a scarcity of appointments, you're going to sit there and waste time with this lady and just be like, oh, well, we need your social and we need this and we need that. And the thing is, like, once she has that power dynamic over you, she's not going to let that thing go. So you're not going to get that sale.
Right.
More times than not, unless you make some hell of a really rational, logical argument that she can't refute. But for the most part, I mean, that comes down to a matter of just like trust, and it's all a perception of power. Right. And you guys had the perception of power, and you guys had the legitimate power, because whether or not you actually sold those people, it didn't make a difference to you, because you got plenty more people to help. So
correct.
Time is everything.
Correct.
Right. So that was a really cool story that you shared this morning, and I was kind of like, yeah, and I'm like, I know why you legitimately did it, because you felt powerful at that moment, right?
Yeah, I felt like I had to go help the next person, and there was no need for me to sit there and and beg her for a social if she didn't want to give it to me.
Right. And I think we've all been there at times before, because including myself, just sometimes you get in a little bit of a funk mentally,
Sure.
and then sometimes you feel like you're almost like you're not in control, and sometimes you almost feel like you're a little bit powerless in certain situations, and that comes from a scarcity mindset. So with an abundance mindset, that's when you just know, like, I don't know whether or not this works out. I just know I got other opportunities. Correct. So somehow make things work. So, I mean, for those of you that, if you guys feel like you're not where you want to be, or you feel a little bit powerless at moments, and you feel like you don't have the type of control, take back control.
Correct.
Number one, accept personal responsibility. As I always talk about, take personal responsibility, because you want to blame external factors, blame other people, blame the company, the leads, the system, whatever it may be, your upline. The thing is, cool, even if that's the case, even if that legitimately is true, what can you do about it?
Great.
Right. You can't fix anything about it, right?
Right.
Right. You just keep getting stuck in that negative mindset, and then you feel even more powerless. Right. But if you want to take back control, just take personal responsibility and do like these guys, invest in a bunch of leads and go out and book your appointments.
Simple.
How much do you invest a week in leads?
On a weekly basis? My goal is to buy 40 to 50 leads on a daily basis. So on a weekly basis, any between 1,500 to about 2,000 on a weekly basis, just depending on how hard I'm running. Out of that, let's say if it's 40 or 50, my strategy is this: I'll wake up at 7:30 in the morning, 7:45 no later. I'll start dialing. The goal is I have 3 different caller IDs that I may call from. Right. So as a result, the first objective is to dial each number with one caller ID 4 times. Yeah. That takes about an hour and 20 minutes. Switch the caller ID. So we're just literally scrubbing that list, and each time it's been successful for 8 to 10 appointments minimum. Okay. So off of 40, 50 leads. So it's just been working successful, Right. Yeah. Sorry, how much did you say you spend a week in leads again?
I run 150 leads, which runs me about $1,600 every 2 days.
Every 2 days.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, about 1,000 minimum. But I would say, like, if you really want to make some real money, like 1,500 to 2,000 weekly leads. Have you guys ever spent that much on leads and then not made any money?
Nah, that's boring. You didn't work.
Because a lot of times people think that, they're like, that seems like a big investment, but if you make 1 or 2 sales, you made your money back, right?
Right. For sure.
So yeah, it is true. I mean, I think you got to make, if you got to put in the work, and sometimes we tell ourselves it's the leads, but it really, you just didn't put in the work. Like, I know you put in the work because you call me throughout the day
1,000 times.
Yeah. And I know you're putting in the work because you're here in the office, just like leading the way with everything, with the calls. So I mean, I just know, like, you can just say, like, oh, these guys are gonna make money. Like, there's just no doubt about it.
Right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about
Vanessa had a question for Shaun.
Let's have a question.
She says, what does he mean by having 3 different caller IDs so he can scrub each call?
Oh, so it's just so let's say I'm in the Los Angeles County today. I may use 3 different phone numbers. So I may purchase 3 different I have what's called Vumber. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that, but that's where I purchase my caller ID phone number, so that when I'm calling clients, I want to make sure their caller ID, their area codes, or it's just similar. So at least they know that it's someone, locally. Keep in mind, I will be also going out there. So once again, just want to make sure that they have a local representative, a local phone number. But I'll purchase 3 phone numbers, and then I'll use that as the caller ID, that Vumber number as the caller ID to call clients. So
so it's basically just switching things up, because I mean, yes, there's phone burner, there's burner, there's sideline, there's
a few of them, right? Just 3 different phone numbers to call from.
But you can keep changing your numbers, so then you can keep calling these, because sometimes if you keep calling the same client over and over again, as we tend to do, like, we're just trying to get a hold of these people that requested for the info. Unfortunately, some people don't pick up the phone if they don't recognize your phone number. So then you can actually purchase these additional numbers or keep switching them up, and then this way you can keep dialing. I like when I was in the field, I used to, like, call with my number, bombard them, then I block my number, I call them, then I unblock it, and I call again. And eventually they'll pick up. They're like, "Who the hell is this? Why you keep calling me?" And then, for me, like, especially if I call from block number, I'm like, that wasn't me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But we didn't have this technology before to be able to have the luxury of being able to switch up your numbers. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you want to invest into if you're serious about dialing.
Absolutely.
Do you use a program like that?
Yeah, I use phone burner.
Use phone burner.
Yep. And I swap out my number every 2 weeks because somebody's going to report me to spam caller. And so I just swap it out every 2 weeks.
Right. And I think sometimes people get a little caught up in that because they're just like, my phone keeps coming up as scam likely. But then, there's ways around this. I mean, there's obviously people that found ways to make it work in spite of these little bit of technological challenges. So, reach out to people, just talk to people. I mean, like Josh isn't even on our team, as I mentioned, but he's part of the FFL family. Right. And then he kept coming in this morning, just like asking me or sharing little bits. He's like, check this out. This is what happened. Or this is my numbers, or this is what, and I'm like, you want to just get on a call with us today and just share this information? Because I love hearing it. But then a lot of this is actually applicable to all of you guys directly out there. You guys can apply it right away and start making some more money and having more success thanks to guys that just want to share. Was there another question that you?
Yeah. So is Vumber, Dennis was asking, is Vumber an app or is it a website?
A website.
It's a website.
Yeah. VUMBER.
Yeah. But there's a ton on there. So ask on the group chat later if I know a lot of people have been sharing different ones, but phone burner, obviously, there's burner, sideline. Those are the few that I know.
Most popular ones. Yeah.
VUMBR.
Yeah. VUMBR.
Like number, but with a V instead of.
Oh, Vumber. Oh, I thought you said B. I was like. And then Marlon was asking, Josh, you spent around $600 every 2 days?
$1,600
every 2 days. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So $3,200 a week for sure. Marlon was asking.
Well, you were telling me earlier. I mean, we're talking about risk. But you drive to Northern California, which is like a good 8 hours away from here.
Yeah, about 6.5. You
invest money into it. You've also got into this from your previous job of car sales, and then you took a little bit of a risk. Has risk ever scared you from going on doing this?
I mean, of course, it was scary. I mean, at the beginning, I remember coming in here my first day and asking all these weird questions to everybody because I was like,
right.
I just walked away from a secure paycheck.
So you did have a little bit of doubt.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But after, a couple of weeks, it got to the point where I was 100% sold on the fact that if I invested my money, I would make my money back and it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
But you can't be afraid to take the risk.
Right. How much did you start off with?
My first purchase was $2,000.
Okay.
The first time I purchased leads.
And did you have that kind of money saved up?
I mean, I had like $8,000 in the bank.
Okay.
So I didn't have a ton. I was making money, but I was spending money when, I was in the car business. So I was at a point where it was more about time freedom than it was about money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took what I had, I paid all my bills a month in advance and I rolled from there.
Right.
And so, I'm super grateful because I would have never thought I could make, $28,000 in a week, ever.
It's funny when Josh first came into the office, he was like, he's right outside my office, like right outside. So I always hear him. So him and I have gotten really, really close. And his first weekend, he was like, "What's issue paid?" And I think I asked him, I was like, "So what are you at for the week?" And he's like, probably like 13 grand. I'm like, "It's only Wednesday and it's the first weekend or something like that." And then I was like, "Well, what have you issue paid?" He was like, "What's issue paid?" So like what I'm trying to say is that Josh didn't hesitate at all. He spent the $2,000 on leads and he literally dials until he gets his appointments, which is respected a lot.
All in.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I always joke around with Shaun about this, but it's not about product knowledge. It's not about knowing everything. It's just, you just got to get your leads and got to go to work.
For real.
Really? I mean, let's talk about carriers. Like, what do you guys like? What carrier do you guys primarily use?
America.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I think there's so many other carriers, and it's great to have all these different options with these different carriers that we have and these different products. But honestly, if we just had America, we'd be fine, right?
Yeah.
You guys believe that?
Yeah.
Okay, but we just happen to have all this other stuff, and so I think for an agent to get started, sometimes they get overwhelmed, so then they start texting us and say like, which one should I go with? Or in this house they have this, and that. I'm just like, America, just go with America. And like, if everyone just focused on that, like, just think about the simplicity of that process of not having to worry about like, okay, well, there's this carrier and there's this product, and what if they have this, what if they have that? Like, we all can just like simplify our lives and just focus on being the best version of us. rather than just like overthinking and overcomplicating the process. Like America's also paid you guys very quickly and very fast, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Beautiful
instant
thing.
decision every single house.
Beautiful thing.
All right.
Yeah.
I love waking up every morning and having that email, man. That's something about that email in the morning, knowing how much you're gonna make today, or whatever the case may be. That's exciting in itself, right? So, well, of course, America has a lot of benefits, a lot of features. So, America.
Jason last week was like, bro, I love that email. I love that email.
I was stuck on the side of the road when I got the email last night. I was like, it's gonna be all
Gotta
right.
love it.
It's good news, bad news, you know.
Right.
That's life. It's just
It
all,
makes the
it's all
pain go
kind of a
away.
balance. But
Beautiful.
if you had to give a new agent advice in terms of like them being scared to purchase leads, I mean, like you spent what, 1,800 in your first set of leads?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I know I guess few people have posed this, and you can answer this question too, Shaun. But is it scarier? Like now that you guys have some experience, now that you guys are going to be multiple 6-figure earners, yeah, I mean, you guess you guys already kind of are, right? But if you guys, if is it scary to like spend $2,000 in leads or like $200 in leads? What's
No.
scarier?
200.
200,
Yeah.
because I won't
that's
have enough people to call.
Correct.
And it's all mental anguish too, because like just think
Literally.
about the smaller number of people that you have to call. Like you got to try to make the most out of every single one. So like
Literally.
if someone doesn't pick up or someone hangs up is the wrong number, whatever it is, like think about how frustrated you are mentally. So you're setting yourself up to fail, right?
Mhm.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, in regards to like a strategy or like something that's been successful that I've told like most of my new guys.
Yeah.
The fact that I believe personally that, if you're talking to other people about insurance, you should at least have some form of coverage yourself.
Okay.
As an agent, some form of small coverage. At least you're an example of the product. I said this to say, getting started. Mutual of Omaha has been successful with helping a lot of my new guys getting started that didn't have any money, just by them simply writing a policy on themselves, them being their first client, if you will. That kind of generated income for them to kind of get started quickly, to kind of get to that next level, if you will. So, I say this to say, if you have no money, if you have whatever amount of money and you're from 5,000, 10,000 to the guy that has literally no money in his bank account, you can literally get started with Family First Life. And I just think that's like extremely not talked about enough, but like it's a huge benefit. Like there's literally no cost to getting started. Like,
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, let me be very clear for those of you that are new, or for those of you that are maybe looking into Family First Life. The thing is, we're not multi-level marketing. This is not network marketing. We're not trying to run some Ponzi scheme where like, hey, Shaun, if you want to come in, like sign up for a policy with me first.
Not at all.
And then pay me. And then like, let's give me a list of your friends and relatives and give me like 30 names. Like we're not trying to do any of that. But the thing is, if you're coming in, getting started, some people have been blessed and they've been able to save up a little bit of money prior to coming into this. Some people have a little bit of help from their family or wherever the money's coming from. So some people have a little bit of capital to start off and to get their initial set of leads. Okay, but we know that some people don't. So the thing is, in those situations, if you have friends and family, or even yourself, like Shaun just mentioned, if you need that to get you started, go write a policy and get paid on it, and then take that money and immediately invest. But let me just caution all of you guys. Like the thing is, if you're not planning on keeping it, or your family's not going to keep it, don't sign them up.
Yeah, the very, very clearly.
It's going to hurt you in the long run. It's also going to hurt them. So the thing is, like, if you're committed, if you're going to do that to get you started, if that's what you need to get started, commit to it all the way. And the thing is, I think Andrew just talked about this last training we went to, but he just talked about like you want to spend $2,000 on your first set of leads. And the thing is that you're not going to keep spending $2,000 every week, because that's not going to be the cost. You have that money, you invest in your leads, you work them diligently and work them earnestly, and then you'll make money, and then you go invest that money. So you're playing with house money.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So I mean, I think sometimes people think like, oh, spending $2,000 a week on leads. It's not your spending, not taking out of your pocket brand new 2,000. Like you just need that initial investment, and once you get that rolling, you have more and more money to work with. So
thank you for clarifying that for me. Once again, it only works if you're committed to the entire process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for clearing that.
No, not at all. I mean, I think See, this is why I like having you on too, because you're typically so busy running appointments in the field. Like every time if I call you, like sometimes you'll call me and I'm in a meeting or something, and then I call you right back after. Like you're in the middle of like working, so like, you don't have this opportunity to share with an audience, which we need to get you on more because
I appreciate you.
Yeah, it's
I love you guys, man. Thank you
it's
guys.
great energy too.
Thank you.
But what other tips can you give to new agents that are maybe afraid of getting going? And
One of the biggest things is don't be afraid to fail. Okay. And I'm sure you guys have heard that before. You got to work. Okay. If you work, it's going to work. But you got to be willing to put in the time. You got to be willing to dial and protect your dial session. Like that's a big thing. Like I don't, you see me here all the time. There's been times my wife even wants me, hey, I need help with this. I need help with that. Hey, look, listen, if I had a normal job and I was working anywhere else, I can't just leave.
Right.
Okay. This is a real job. I can't leave. Okay. You have to protect your dial session. That's where your money's made.
For sure.
So that's a big deal.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, having weekends off is cool. I take Sunday off. Okay. I don't work Sundays just because that's the day I spend with my family.
Right.
But having Saturday off would be, cool, but you got to work.
Right.
And it's not cool being broke.
It's not cool. It's not cool. At all.
Getting the America email every morning. I mean, every morning except for weekends, it's $2,000, $4,000, $5,000. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It just keeps coming. It's like
It's ridiculous. Like
it gets crazy.
And you've seen it steadily grow over the short period of time you've been here, right?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I think my last night was $4,000. The night before was $7,000. I mean, the night before that was $2,000.
Yeah.
And it keeps. But again, you can't stop working. I personally, I know I can't just squat and not do anything.
Right.
I can't go, oh, hey, you know what? I made a bunch of money. I'm going to go sit down. Well, I got to keep working.
Right.
Otherwise it stops and then you got to start over.
Right. And you don't want to lose that momentum on top of that, right?
Correct.
No.
So yeah, so you wrote over 28,000 last week. You had 59 appointments. So what was your show ratio? Did everyone show up?
So I'm not that good. I book a lot of appointments, but I'm not that good. And lots of people no show me.
Okay. What would you say the percentage? How many people show up?
I think we had a thing this morning. We were doing the math. 34.
34 out of 59.
Yeah.
Shows up. Okay.
Almost 50%.
Yeah. A little bit over 50%.
Yeah.
Right. And I submitted just these last 2 days. I submitted 22 applications.
Okay. So what was your closing ratio out of the 34 or so that you saw? How many did you actually sell?
22 applications.
22 applications. So 22 homes.
So I think it was 19 homes.
Okay. So you closed 19 out of 34.
Correct.
Okay.
What was you were breaking down the math to me. What was that math you broke down? Like if these many people show up and I account for remember you were telling me about that?
Yeah. So if I set 30 appointments, okay, and 15 of them no show, and I only get to sit with 10 and I sell 5, I mean, that's pretty much the breakdown. I'll still make $5,000 that day. And that's if I do terrible.
Right.
So $5,000 times 4, because there's 4 run days in the week, it's still 20,000.
Yeah.
Boom.
And that's you can't overcomplicate it. Like you gotta that's the way I like to think about it. I'm like, even if I fail, I'll still make $5,000 in the day.
Right.
That's a good way to fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so like when you talk about like being okay with failing, like the thing is, everybody looks at the 28,000 for the week. Everyone looks at the 59 appointments booked in the week, but they're not looking at the ones that weren't successful. Like we don't look at it because number one, that's now typically talked about, because why are we focusing on the stuff that doesn't work? Why don't we focus on things that do work? But you also have to understand that the things that don't work, they still exist.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like Josh here is like perfect. Like the reason why we really like you in this office, because you're just like a real guy. Like we're here listening to you getting hung up on, and you just like, or they're telling you no, and you just keep powering through and you just don't care.
I don't care. I don't care. If you don't want to see me, that's okay. We're gonna move on to somebody that does.
Right.
And that's I think
True
we both
commitment.
agree that's
True commitment. And I applaud you.
Yeah. And you're a super laid back dude, Shaun. I mean, you're like, people don't know this, but I mean, you do get upset at times, and and you do get a little frustrated at times, and sometimes we get on the call and we talk about it. But for the most part, you've got like this really like chill disposition, and you're just really like comfortable and like relaxed. But how do you deal with frustration?
Well, one I call Albert. We start there. Albert's like the of course, my coach, my trainer, my mentor, but he's also my therapist. So I run to Albert. Honestly though, you gotta switch it up. And what I mean by that is if you ever sat back and really focused on that moment, meaning that moment when things were frustrating or weren't going right, you kind of have to take yourself out of that and kind of put things on pause. For myself, like I don't mind showing up 5-10 minutes late just to kind of make sure I'm mentally there, mentally clear, before trying to walk in with all this other stuff on my mind. So just these little small things, a little bit of music. I try to avoid music throughout the day just because it becomes a little bit of a distraction. It's a lot easier when you're 100% tuned in and focused and listen to podcasts, listen to some positive, or maybe even music with no lyrics, just something that's like more motivational, if you will. That also helps me just during those little funky little periods that sometimes they pop up randomly. I mean, honestly speaking, we're all human. We can have those frustrating moments and it's nothing related to business at all. It's more personal life or whatever the case may be, so I say that to say, there's 1,000 different distractions, but the main thing is also making sure you return back to that campfire, which is why I was referring back to Albert. Albert can redirect me to somebody else or some more information that I wasn't aware of. As a result, by me returning always back to the campfire, it always lights my fire again and it leads me in the right direction. So that would be like, it's just small tips for anyone dealing with that foot. We all deal with it. Everyone, even $100,000, $68,000. Just being honest. Just and you've already professed this, but everyone deals with those moments of frustration, and so just a couple tips.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, especially people get caught up on social media because they're watching like all these people out there killing and making a ton of money with the FFL and talking about how they wrote $100,000 plus in a month and they made this amount of money and they closed all these deals. But the other side of it is like they're dealing with the same thing you guys are. The only thing is that they have a lot more activity to be able to experience the successes as well. Sure. Like, if you have so much time to focus on the shortcomings or the frustrations of this business and the things that didn't go right, it's either you didn't have enough activity or you're stuck in a mental place and you're choosing to focus strictly on this and not be able to look at any of the good.
True.
And if that's the case, I mean, you need to reach out to somebody, like, reach out to someone in your upline. You guys know I'm always available. So, just stick around positive people like this. They're no different from you. They just do whatever you do, but they do a lot more of it.
Appreciate that.
And that's the key to this business.
One last little tidbit. Please. Always complain up.
That's right.
Yeah, just never always complain to somebody who has more success than you. Or not complain. Let me take that word back. Always
talk it out.
Yeah. Talk it out with the right people that have already been what you're going through, just so that way you can come out on the right side. So never talk to somebody that's not moving in that direction. So
one thing that and I think we could both agree on is always stack the numbers in your favor. Like that's a big deal to me. Like I always want to make sure that if I'm going to miss appointments, I'm going to miss appointments because I can't make it there, not because they no-showed me. Right. Okay. You always want to have the numbers in your odds.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's just a testament to you guys' hard work. But before we run out of time, just wanted to ask you real quick, Shaun, since you've, for those of you guys that don't follow Shaun, if you watch his social media, he does a day in the life of, so he before even that, he was just sharing every little activity, like him walking up to the door, him like getting ready getting ready for an appointment, him just walking around the city, getting ready for appointments and all the stuff in between. So Yoel actually reached out to you, right?
Yep.
So what do you guys have going on with a day in the life?
So we are kind of putting it all together. We're actually expanding it. I'm purchasing little body cams and little small things just to give it a little bit more detailed version of it, not to invade privacy. But Instagram, it has opened a lot of doors. I've spoken to a lot more leaders in the company. I've met new people. It's entertaining. So I say all these different things like Instagram has been really special. Yoel All right, now I guess it's a compilation, or I don't know the necessary name for it, but long story short, we're combining all the videos together, and as a result, it looks like a collage of it's just a fun 5-minute video of the day in the life of FFL.
Right. Well, yeah, obviously you can see that you're having fun, and some of those are really touching stories for the people that have requested for the insurance. I mean, obviously they've lost some loved ones, or they're ill themselves, and they really need this coverage.
Right.
And it feels great that you're able to help them out. But there's also the other side of it is for the ones that don't work out.
Right.
Like that's all in there too. So
right.
So it paints more of a realistic picture as opposed to just like, let's look at the success and let's just base everything on that, because that's also the evil of social media too. You're watching everyone else having a great time on yachts and like they're showing a ton of money that they don't even have. They're driving off in like fancy cars that they don't own. I mean, like, so sometimes we get caught up in this, and I just really appreciate what you and you all have put together, because like it's just real stuff.
Thank you.
So any last things you guys wanted to share with the group before we sign off this week? Go ahead.
I think there's anything that I would want somebody to say to me. Yeah, if you wanted to reach out to me personally, if you had a question, if I could help, I guess my telephone number or Instagram, or
give them both out.
Yeah, my telephone number is 510-825-6094. That's my direct cell. And Instagram, it's SHJONDEL. Shondell.
And just to close out, the last thing is just believe in yourself. Like, don't give up. Like, people are going to tell you can't. Okay. Because, it happens.
That's the way of the world. I mean, they don't want to put in the work you do. So they just think you can't do it either, because they can't do it. They think you can't do it.
Yeah. So you just got to believe in yourself, and you can't give up. Like, even when it seems like it's not going to work, you got to keep pushing, because that's right when it's about to turn,
right.
So if anybody, I'm new, but I'll give you guys my number. It's 509-578-4196. And my Instagram is Josh Mejia FFL. Yep, just Josh Mejia FFL.
Yeah. So for anyone out there that's watching that's not with FFL yet, if you guys want to work with these guys, you guys know how to contact them, or you can reach out to us. We'll put you guys in contact with them if that's who you guys want to work with. And I would definitely recommend it, because I enjoy being around these guys. So but yeah, I think that's all perfect. I mean, yeah, you just got to struggle through the tough times, and they're not going to last forever, so let's just keep everything within perspective and continue to go out there and just focus on the things. Like, if you can't find yourself the right type of motivation, don't do it for yourself, because you can't keep that thing going. But if you just have a bigger purpose and you just focus on these people filled in this information, asking for help, let's just go out there and help as many families as we can. In the process of doing that, I guarantee you, your confidence is going to continue to increase, because you're going out there making an impact, helping other people out. And when those deposits hit, that America statement comes on in the morning, you're going to feel real good. So let's continue to go out there and just help as many people as we can. If you guys need anything, feel free to reach out. But I appreciate you guys getting on this week. We'll see you next week on the Elite Sales Podcast.